Hey everybody, this is NSIGS here, or Bannerfield, and today we're back with another video. Today's video is going to be another Smite build. Today's Smite build is going to be a Kali jungle build. So let me tell you quickly about Kali. Kali is an assassin, and her strong suits are high sustain and high single target damage. And when you're playing Kali jungle, I personally, whenever I play her jungle, have three ways to start with her. If you don't have to use these starting things. I'm just trying to help you guys out. If you want to tweak them a little bit, it's all right. So let's get right into this. First, we're going to start off with the Bumba's Mask damage pot start. This is just normal start for all junglers. And then I very much recommend to get Curse with her first. I feel like you can get a lot of first bloods with her because of her single target damage, or just single target, her single target damage. Definitely can do a lot of her with Curse in the early game and even in the late game. So after your damage pot's gone and you return back to the fountain, you want to buy Ninja Tab-Eye boots. This a little bit of attack speed, 50%, plus 20 damage, plus movement speed is great on her. Her biggest strong suit is 100% attack speed and movement speed. This build I'm going to give you guys is revolved around that with something else that I'll explain in a little bit. Yeah, by Ninja Tab-Eye. And then next, you want to go into Fatalis. Fatalis is probably the core item of this build. This is what makes Kali great. If you don't know what Fatalis does, or hasten the Fatalis, basically whenever you hit an enemy, you increase your movement speed, and I'm pretty sure your attack speed. But right now, I'm kind of just moving normally. I think it's just your movement speed, but when I'm hitting this guy, I'm moving a lot faster. And this is something that makes her single target damage very high. So this is probably the core item. It's not, again, it doesn't give it much damage, but trust me, later on, this thing is deadly. So next item that I like to get on her for this start is definitely Soul Eater. Now, Soul Eater is kind of, okay, at this point in the game, you can either go, this is just your preference. I apologize about that. You can either go Soul Eater or Stone Cutting Sword. It depends if you want damage first or Soul Eater. I'll go Stone Cutting Sword first for you guys, just because that's what a lot of people do. So Stone Cutting Sword, this is where the other part of this build comes in handy. This is basically another great thing about her is since she's a very quick hitting god, she doesn't really want to get in fights for too long. She wants to focus on multiple she does not want to focus on multiple targets. So she wants to quickly dispatch one to move on to the other. Now every god has protection of some sort. It's just default. So when you have this, you're hitting extremely hard. So let's go to this Odin real quick. He has some physical protection. You see some of these items that I'm hitting. You see some of these attacks I'm doing is over 100. That is because of Stone Cutting Sword. Definitely a great item for her, because again, she's gonna be a jungler. She's gonna be ganking. You need to get those kills with her. You need to get those kills with her to get her up. So next, after that, I like to go with Deathbringer. Deathbringer, again, it's just so heavily in the meta. It's just, especially when you do these quick attacks, you're just hitting super hard. And plus with the abilities too. Let me quickly go over her abilities. This ability is a leap that also does some damage, actually a lot of damage. This is a bleeding effect thing. This is a bleeding effect projectile, and this is, here, I'll have to show it on the moving target. This is a stun, which is really good. And also, I just want to show you right now, we're hitting pretty hard, sustainability, great. Her ultimate, this is something that's really interesting. Basically, whenever she uses her ultimate, she never takes damage. But there's that constant circle keeps giving damage to your opponents. But you do go down to 1 health, so when that goes away, you're basically an easy kill. So watch out for that. And her passive, if you see in the kind of bottom left-ish corner, there is Raw. If you kill Raw or whoever's picture is in that screen, and you have no health or low health, your health gets refilled. So now that we went over abilities, let's go back into the build. After Deathbringer, I personally like to get Executioner for that late game fight, because again, Executioner lowers the protection of enemies, so it not only helps you, it helps your team like a lot, and you're gonna be doing a lot of damage because this is late game. You're just Executioner. You could go Titan's Bane, but I think Executioner just is better overall. And also, I like to go Sprint as my second relic just because just this character, she is so well at single target fights. Just doing this and saying I just killed this guy, moving over this guy, stunning him, killed this guy. She's just so well at like killing a target, switching to another target, going back and forth in a team fight that some people don't even know she's there. So Kali with Executioner, it's great. It definitely helps in team fight. So next, obviously, we're gonna sell Bumba's Mask. You could have sold Bumba's Mask around the middle part of Deathbringer and Executioner, or you could have kept it. Either way, that's fine. Now, the next item I like to get is Itchable, because it gives me a little bit more attack speed, which is going to be great. Because obviously, again, like I've been saying with this character, she definitely excels on high attack speed with hitting punch, or hard hitting punch. So this gives you, again, more physical penetration, and it gives you that attack speed that's going to be great in fights. So that is the first build I'm going to show you guys. So let me now sell these items. Actually, quickly, let me go over some items that you could replace. You could replace Itchable and go with a Soul Eater for late game. You could replace, put a triple back. You could replace a Jotun's Wrath for a Jotun. You could replace a Deathbringer for Jotun's Wrath, and you could get your cooldown a little bit more, so that way you get your ult the more, your stun. That's just personal preference. Also depends on if they have a lot of protection, because this is also physical penetration. It also gives you a little bit of mana. So let me put Deathbringer back. And one item that I actually like on her that a lot of people underrate, if you get rid of Ninja Tabi, and so let's say you have Ninja Tabi, you're building this, and like you have that. I actually like to sell Ninja Tabi sometimes, get Frostbound Hammer, finish Stone Cutting Sword, and continue with the build. Now I do this because, again, her single target damage is so good. So if you don't know what Frostbound Hammer does, whenever you're hitting a target with your basic attack, it has a chance to slow them. So basically, let's say this Raw is running away, he is getting slowed down, and imagine if that was a character that can move very fast. So that's another good item that you could buy and replace your boots, just so that way you don't have to run and you could just, corner them or something. So let's sell this and get into the other build. The next build is straight into Ninja Tabi. Then you're going to go Fatalis. Then you're going to go Soul Eater, because you need that lifesteal that kind of Bumba's Mask gave you, when you killed something in the jungle, but this will basically replace it. Then you want to get Stone Cutting Sword again. Then, instead of Deathbringer next, you're going to want to get Executioner, because usually when you don't get Bumba's Mask, your team likes to get in a lot of team fights earlier and then later in the game, so definitely get Executioner instead of Deathbringer at that spot. Then after Executioner, you could either go Itchable or Deathbringer. It just depends if they have a lot of protection. If they have a lot of protection, definitely go Itchable. If they don't have a lot of protection, go Deathbringer. You're doing a lot of damage. So that is the build with just Ninja Tabi. Basically the only change is you get Soul Eater, because, again, you're going to be in a lot of team fights if you don't get that Bumba's Mask, if you communicate with your team. Because a lot of teams, when they don't get by Bumba's Mask, they like to do in a lot of team fights early game. So let us go into the final build, and then we'll go into some counter builds. So the final build is, you want to start with Fatalis. Just normal Fatalis, not hastened Fatalis. So just go normal Fatalis, then you want to go full Ninja Tabi. Then you want to go Hastened Fatalis, get Stone Cutting Edge, Deathbringer. This is kind of a little bit earlier to get Deathbringer. Then get Itchable right here. Then, lastly, get Executioner. Now you're probably wondering, what's the difference between this build and the first build? What's the difference between the first build and this build? Considering only thing that changed was Fatalis first. So let me explain. Normal Fatalis gives you 20% attack speed and 7% movement speed, when Ninja Tabi only gives you 15% attack speed, so you're getting 5 more percent attack speed. Now, at one point early in the game, you were going to get full Ninja Tabi as a cheap boot, so you're going to get it pretty early after just normal Fatalis. So you're going to have a 2-tier Fatalis and a full Ninja Tabi. So that means you are going to have 20 attack speed plus 15, 35 plus the damage. You're going to want to do early fights, not team fights. This build is when you want to fight early, when you want to be aggressive and you want to gank a lot. This is kind of like the I'm going to destroy this team build and no one will stop me unless they have a 5-on-1. Basically you get Deathbringer at that's the 4th spot because you need that damage against certain characters. Itchable just because you need to tear down their you need to tear down the protection quickly, so that attack speed is going to help, and the Executioner for late game fights. Perfect. So now that we are done with the builds, let's go into a counter build. So let's just start with the normal build. So we're going to get Bump Smash, this, that, this, and that, and then this. Okay, so let us say that. Also, I have a kind of like special item that I'm gonna save for the end that can work for any build. It's just kind of like a certain item that is gonna help you with your relics. So next, let's say their assassin is completely destroying you, like you are getting wrecked, completely wrecked. So let's say you have Bumba's mask and you have your boots. That's Dustle. Let's say you're getting completely wrecked. So you have Bumba's mask and Ninja Tabi. So this is what you do. If you're completely wrecked, forget Fatalis for now. Go Breastplate. Immediately go Fatalis afterwards. Then Stonecutter. Then Deathbringer. And then Executioner. Forget Itchable. If they are seriously destroying you with physical power, just buy Breastplate of Valor. It's a great counter. Now, if you are getting destroyed by their mage, or their mage is a jungle, just do the exact same thing, but just buy Bulwark of Hope. It gives you a little bit of a shield, and great magical defense, gives you some health, and some crowd control reduction. Then get Hastened Fatalis, Cutting Edge Sword, Deathbringer, and then Executioner. Now, if they are all wrecking you, and you want some team fight with protection, get Shifter Shield. Obviously, the passive says, while you're over 50% health, you gain 20% physical power, while under, you gain 20 protection. So this is good for team fights when you're fighting a group of people, and this is good for single fights when you have low health and you need that protection. And it gives magical and physical. So either way, that works. I would recommend that one over any of them. So now that we went into the protections, or the counter builds, let us go into the final build, the one that I like personally, because it is very fun to use. So, Bumba, Ninja Tabi, his Fatalis, Stone Cutting Sword, Deathbringer, Executioner. Why did I buy Witchblade? Interval, Ace Fatalis. Okay, so right now I want you to sell Deathbringer. Now, I say this because they've added a new item called Ritual Dagger, and those are some good stacks, give you some health, attack speed, and cooldown reduction and movement speed. But the passive, whenever you use a relic, the duration of that relic's effects are increased by 50%. So, what did I say about Kali earlier? Curse on her is amazing because it makes them slow and you can catch up to them. So, this lasts longer now with it. so that way they won't get away from you.